G'day gang, Reidy here with your report for Monday, what is it, the 12th of November. Just covering the weekend's auction action, we had 1,257 auctions with a 48% clearance rate. Really cool thing that we've noticed though is out of the 10 or so auctions that we had, about 90% of them either sold under the hammer or got offers, either whether it was passed into a genuine bidder or offers directly after the auction, which is really, really good and shows that if you are a little bit more dynamic, particularly with that third stage of the process, you're going to do all right with auctions and it's actually going to decrease your days on market. Now, I wanted to clarify a couple of things, one based around a post that I put on Facebook on Saturday, and the other one is around not how we're managing buyers, but how we're preparing buyers for that auction day. Firstly, I posted something on Facebook on Saturday. I had a bit of a chance to have a watch of a couple of auctions. I had a break in between a couple because one sold prior to, and I started watching a few, and I got really frustrated really quickly because pretty much all of them were saying the same stuff over and over again, and there were 4 different brands, by the way, so it wasn't the same auctioneer. It was 4 different brands, 4 different auctioneers, 4 different suburbs, and I let that frustration get ahead of me a little bit. And the post that I put on, this post actually, which said that auctioneers needed to put more effort into their game, it wasn't the most productive thing I've ever put out there, but I did let my frustrations get ahead of me. So firstly, just wanted to apologize if anybody took any offense. But the thing is, and this is where I'm getting really concerned, now, we're here to help. If you need assistance, we don't want to take over everyone's auctions in the whole of the state, but at the same time, if anybody needs any assistance in just refreshing themselves, if they're feeling like they're a bit stagnant in the way that they're going about things, that's where we can help for sure. So we're more than happy to consult and give you some advice, and we do auctioneer coaching as well. So if you do need any help with just livening things up a little bit or changing things up, getting a fresh perspective, that is what we're here to do, because that is what our passion is. Now, the big concern for me though is that yes, you're focusing on the transaction, which I totally get and I totally understand, but you're not paying attention to how your brand is being perceived by the public. And now I'm not just talking about the people that are standing in the crowd. I'm talking about how your vendors are feeling, because they're nervous as heck on the other side of that front door in the house. How your buyers are reacting to how you're going about your business, because it is harder to get bids and offers and so on and so forth. And then of course your neighbors, because we're seeing so many more neighbors who are getting nervous about the market conditions, that are getting out, actually spending time coming and watching auctions just so that they can get more of a grip as to what's going on with their property down the street. So the big issue that I've got is, if you're doing things the way that you've done them the last 100 or 200 times or whatever it is, you might be a real seasoned campaigner. And again, I'm not knocking anyone's experience. However, if you're just going through the motions, as I saw on Saturday, the big issue is that however you feel you're going, the perception of your brand is going to be so mundane and so full of just apathy. It's just an apathetic direction to take when it comes to your auctions. And basically, whenever you do an auction, your branding is sort of amplified because it is in a much more public environment. So people are way more receptive to make judgment based on what they're seeing, hearing, feeling about the auction. If you're not bringing energy and you're not bringing power and passion and a determination to your auction, and like I said, you're just going through the motions, the damage that you're causing to your brand, not just on the day, but moving forward, is insane. We're all trying to get points of difference that actually set us apart as agencies and as brands, compared to all of our competitors. But the problem is, like I said, for those businesses that I saw on Saturday, there is no competitive advantage because they were all doing the same stuff that is out of the real estate handbook of auctioneering from 1993 or whatever, and it's not resonating with your audience. Now, with the buyers, we've got to be there to inspire activity, not to take bids and be an order taker. We've got to inspire activity, and energy breeds energy, and activity breeds activity, as I've said on a number of occasions, and that is so true with your buyer population. With your vendors, all they need to feel is that you are going out there, irrespective of the campaign, and actually giving it everything you've got to get an outcome on the day. If they feel that that is the case, then when you go back in there, if it does pass in and you've got to work your way through moving forward with this, they're going to be way more welcoming to any suggestions that you've got, particularly around price, marketing changes, so on and so forth. Now, with your neighbors and your potential vendors, they just want to see action. They know that it's a damn hard market. So all they want to see is people and auctioneers and agents. So this is the entire team that I'm talking about now, that are prepared to go into the trenches and be prepared to go to war with the marketplace. I'm not talking about being combative with buyers. I'm talking about having a determination to really go out all guns blazing, because that level of commitment and that bit of sweat that they see on the brow is 100% going to translate into how they go about selecting their agent should they need to sell in the next sort of 12 months or so. Because effort is a massive draw card from an emotional point of view when it comes to people selecting their agents for their campaigns. So, like I said, guys, I didn't want to talk like I was on high, like I'm like the Bible of auctioneering. Far from it. That is not the case. However, when there needs to be a clear input of passion in order to help your brand progress, I need to say something, because otherwise, if nothing gets said, you're just going to keep doing it and you're just going to keep getting the same results, both now and in the future. Now, with the buyer preparation side of things, and this is a really important point, because I had two buyers in particular across my auctions that hadn't done the appropriate level of homework to put them in the best position possible to try and buy the property. And it wasn't necessarily the agent's fault, okay? So there was one lady in particular, and I felt so bad for her, but there was nothing I could do about it. She was trying to buy something for herself, but she was relying on her parents to put the cash up, to put the funds up, or to be guarantors, or whatever the case, whatever the situation was. The issue that we had was every time she made a bid and then someone else bid over the top, she had to send an SMS because her parents were at work, couldn't even call them, send an SMS to see what she could bid next. And that just dragged out the process so much. And it also put a lot of pressure on that young lady herself, because everyone was looking at her. Everyone was trying to work out whether she was doing something, whether she was not doing something. She just felt the pressure so much, and I felt so sorry for her, because if she'd have just gone home or back to her folks on the Friday night and just gone and sat down and worked out exactly what the budget was, then she could have given herself way more opportunity and actually not put herself under so much duress when it came to buying that property, because it was a perfect property for her. And unfortunately, because it was taking too long, because her parents were at work so they weren't on their phone, unfortunately she missed out, and the property passed into a different buyer who had an opportunity to get the outcome. Now, like I said, it wasn't necessarily the agent's fault. The agent was doing everything they could to support her. And so, like I said, not their fault in any way, shape or form. But pre-auction day, we need to be talking to our buyers about what they need to do to get ready. Now, I'm not talking about trying to find out everything, including what they had for dinner. You don't need to be as nosy as saying, you know, what's your max budget, what's this, what's that, because that's just going to throw up barriers. What you need to do is make sure you plant the seed in their heads. Have you got a max budget that you can go up to? And also, have you considered a strategy? Because if they consider those two things, the amount of pressure that is off their chest is crazy, and they can focus on the big thing, which is trying to buy the property. So let's not put buyers in a situation where they're going to miss out on opportunities based on the fact that they haven't got their homework done. Like I said, don't try and be too nosy, because that isn't going to fly with them, but make sure you've planted the seeds so that they can at least think about it, so that on the day, they're going to be in a much better position to try and bid and buy the property. All right. So there's my report. There's my two things that I needed to get off my chest. If you're thinking that you're going to be stagnant, just hit me up. Send me a message. Send me a text message, 0451 085 998, or send us a message on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. I don't care. If you need help, or if you just want a refresher hour or whatever, just to give yourself a bit more energy in your auctions, give me a shout, because I'm more than happy to help. I'm not here to take over. I'm here to help you enhance your brands. All the best, gang. Have a great week.